Hi Gemini, welcome to The Modern Spiritualist. My name is Raheem. We're going to look at May for you today. You can use this for Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising, or North Node. Those are the best placements, but I mean, you really can look at any Gemini placement that matters to you in your chart, or you can just watch this for someone else or any other reason, and there will probably be messages in here for you. That's kind of how it's set up, so it's pretty loose. Always, when in doubt, just go to your sun sign. So, Gemini, month of May, Celtic Cross spread using the Thoth deck plus the Threads of Fate Oracle energy as the catalyst energy. We're going to start there. The catalyst card is going to serve as like the highest alignment or vibration possible for you in this month with all these energies that you have available. So if you get lost in the process, you can always look at the catalyst energy to kind of remind you of the high note, remind you what you're doing here this month, okay? So starting there, we have Fate. For your catalyst energy, let's see. What I feel is kind of this, I guess would be considered Hindu. Is this in the Hindu belief system? I think it is, where something in the East like that, where consciousness itself is kind of considered to be these like series of like dots and connecting strings, right? And so like each dot or particle or whatever would be kind of like an individualized consciousness energy. So like you would be one of those dots, and then all these connecting strings are connecting to other forms of consciousness, and in that way you can kind of perceive life both on an individual basis and as, you know, kind of the fact that we're all interwoven. So what that comes up for me, if you see the egg here and with the like kind of pattern across it, that's kind of what stood out to me, and that's what's coming to me now. Just this viewing life as kind of this tapestry, right, with these connecting dots and strings, and you're one of those dots, and you have strings that kind of allow you to connect with source energies throughout, you know, your day, and that relational aspect is kind of what creates that, you know, essence of, you know, knowing why you're here but not being able to put it into words, you know, that connection, that connectivity with other things that you love and enjoy. And so what I kind of see this as is one thing that's coming up for me is making sure that, you know, what's your relationship with the word fate? Because sometimes what can end up happening is we think that we're fated for this specific destiny in ways that really kind of pigeonhole our process. I think a good example of this is very early in my life. You know, when you're trying to figure stuff out, when you're like a teenager, late teenager, early 20s, thinking about, you know, what you want to do with your life and what you want to experience based on what you love and what you're good at, what you identify with. And music was always my favorite thing, and I was good at it, and I got good feedback, and so I was like, you know, is there anything else for me? But it got to a point where I identified with myself as a musician to such an extent that it was actually pigeonholing and interrupting my ability to actually make music well, or to enjoy it while I'm doing it, or to kind of make anything happen for myself, because I put too much energy into who I thought I needed to be or what I thought I wanted, and then I kind of stepped out of flow because I decided I was fated for that, and it kind of became an obsession, because if I steered from it, this is a you know, a extreme example maybe, but I kind of, anytime I would veer from it, I would panic. I would feel like I wasn't living my soul's purpose, or I wasn't moving towards my fate. So that's kind of like one way you could look at it, is this obsession with making sure that you actualize your fate or whatever. I think the other thing that can happen is kind of taking a lack of free will approach, where you just maybe your relationship with fate, and this could be true or not, but if it resonates with you, maybe your relationship with fate feels like you can't help it anyway. Like whatever happened to you, you can kind of take a victim mentality where whatever happens to you, you decide happens to you because you deserve it, or it was supposed to happen to you, or like this is just your fate, right? And in that sense, what you're doing is you're just kind of handing over your power to an entity like outside of yourself, And then you're not in good relationship with fate at all because you're just letting life happen to you. So I think those are kind of the prime examples, like one being way too controlling and focused on one. It's kind of like the way that the path I went down, or kind of the opposite path of like, isn't even in my hands at all, right? Okay, so what's your relationship with fate, and then how can we shift it if it feels problematic to you? Because the word fate itself, can imply a lot of different things, and you can get lost in a lot of kind of different doorways, and I guess it's kind of the nature of it itself, right? But if you can kind of perceive fate as something that isn't fixed, right? It's just something that you kind of co-create with the universe along your journey, depending on what you are experiencing, what you would like to experience, and kind of all the contextualizations that can come into that. Then you can kind of approach fate in a relational way in which things are a little bit flowy and open, but you can still kind of travel those threads to get to the next connecting dot. You know what I mean? So you can start to connect these dots and carve a path for yourself, but you're making it up as you go, and you're just pursuing what you like. And so I think that's kind of the message here: is what's your relationship with fate? How can we shift it so it works for you rather than against you, and so that you can kind of get the power into your own hands, without sacrificing your free will, and without sacrificing the love of the journey itself, which the controlling aspect can kind of do. It can kind of send you down this tunnel vision, right? And then suddenly you've forgotten the magic. And so that's, what's the middle ground, or not even middle ground? How can we step away from both of those energies, and then how can you create your own relationship with fate so you can carve your own destiny in a way that feels fulfilling and also safe, like feels like you can trust the universe with what you find as you go throughout it. Okay, so it's kind of a long opening, but it felt important. So let's see how this concept of fate is kind of weaving through this month. At the center, we have the Lust card. This is Leo energy. I'm feeling a real desire to connect. Like, I can feel it really coming from your heart space as well, and kind of radiating throughout your entire body. And it feels very big. It feels almost like a tower energy, except more directed by you. Sometimes the tower can kind of just happen to us, whereas this feels like a transformation that you're kind of leading. So it requires your free will. It requires your power. It requires your determination and your power of choice to move through this transformation. And I really do see that what I'm getting the image of is kind of like a snake shedding its skin, and then followed by you kind of bursting out of your own body. Still in a body, but I just mean like kind of, crawling out of your own, outgrowing yourself essentially, and stepping into a new way of being. And I feel like you're doing it because there is something out there for you, and you can feel it. You can feel the magnetism of it. You can feel the pull. You can feel the lust, right? The attraction. But something in you needs to transform so you can access it. Not because there's something wrong with you as you are, but because whatever this energy is, because it feels very big and powerful, feels very linked to the sacral center's sensuality, sexuality. So maybe look at your second chakra this month, especially the link between the heart and the second chakra. Are you attracted to it? Do you have desire? And do you love it in a reciprocal, meaningful way, right? It's kind of both. It's not just the primal animalistic nature of sex. It's also not just the pure love, compassion, vibration. It's the mixture of the primal and humanity. That kind of attraction, right? It's the kind of attraction that we marry, or things like that. So, but this is just about you, although this could be a partner. It could be somebody that you see in your sights that, yeah, this is coming in. If there's somebody that you're interested in or attracted to, if you're single and looking, it looks like they're a good match for you, but it feels like something just isn't quite ready yet. Like you're not quite ready. And so it may seem like you're stepping into a place where you need to get yourself ready to be in a relationship with this person, because something just seems like the power dynamic is off, or you're just in the middle of something else that you need to move through. Something is happening where you can't quite access them yet. And this snake shedding its skin aspect of you shedding your old self is kind of pivotal to you being able to access that person in the way that you want to. So that could be true. I feel like I was gonna say something else, and then I went down that rabbit hole. Oh yeah, so yeah, look at your second chakra today because it seems like very second chakra centered. Any movement based work you can do or body based work would probably help. Tantra, sex based work as well. What else am I feeling? Connect with the earth. Connect with the earth. Connect with your grounding. It could be that as well. It could be something about your passion or desire for something in nature. But in order to connect with it, you have to be able to open up to connect with it. And this is coming in pretty strong. If you have a connection to nature, but it has been dormant or quiet for some time for whatever reason, there is kind of this aspect of when you reconnect with nature after you've numbed out to it, you have to go through a specific kind of grief period that is both individual and collective in terms of like the fact that we're harming the planet hurts and we disconnect because of it. And so if we want to come back into a feelings-based dynamic with nature where we can feel the nature's emotions and nature itself can feel ours, we come back into the cycle, the emotional cycle of the earth, which at this time includes grief because of what we're doing to the planet. So that could be because I feel ecstasy, I feel agony, and I feel desire. And so something in that makes me feel like, the ecstasy and agony of reconnecting with the earth again after you haven't for a while. It kind of feels like that. It's like it hurts so bad that we're hurting it, but it feels so good to reconnect. And you just have to move through it, and then you kind of cycle back into a sense of normalcy, retaining that reconnection to the earth. So for some of you, that may be the path. That feels strong. Let's see what else. Who in you is controlling you? Like who in you is the controller? And what dynamic are they holding within you to prevent you from accessing pleasure? That's another one that's coming through. Who's the sadist? Who's the masochist? What do they like about their dynamic with each other? What do you not like about their dynamic with each other? And these are both inside you, right? And why don't you like it? How can you look at it differently? And then how can you shift the energy if it's not ideal for you? That's another one coming through. It's just kind of this imbalance of power between two aspects of yourself. One's the controller and one's the victim. Okay. That could also translate to this intense desire that I'm feeling if you're exploring BDSM or something like that with a partner or a new partner specifically. That's coming through strong for some reason this month. And just enjoy yourself and honor your boundaries. Okay, those are all the things coming through. That's a lot. But this being linked to the fate aspect really makes me think big picture. So like connecting with yourself and your body on a much deeper, more sensual level, or connecting with your sexual energy, procreative energy as a force of nature within yourself, or reconnecting with the earth, the nature itself within yourself. So it feels like reconnection with some sort of power in your life that you have a lot of desire and attraction for and haven't quite been able to access for whatever reason, which requires you to kind of crawl out of your own skin so you can be bigger than you were previously in the last cycle. Okay, so that's kind of the main point. Crossing that energy, we have the devil, Capricorn. The message I'm getting is don't take yourself so seriously, right? We have fate, which sounds so serious, like what is fate? But fate is just your co-creation with spirit. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be light. It's supposed to be an adventure, right? Lust, the lust card, same thing. Like this is about strength, power, attraction, and sex, okay? We can take it very, very seriously if we want to, but as long as we're just honoring consent, right? It's supposed to be fun. All of it is supposed to be, connecting with nature is supposed to be fun. Connecting with your own body and sexuality is supposed to be fun. Connecting with another partner and experimenting with sex is supposed to be fun. Transformation, becoming bigger, expanding, that's supposed to be fun too. So what I'm getting from the devil is just relax, take a deep breath, enjoy the journey. This is not supposed to be demanding. It's just purely intended to help you grow and evolve so that you can ultimately be happier and find more fulfilling avenues for your life. Right, so it's not supposed to be serious. This isn't about rules and restriction. This is about expansion and joy. So just remember that. Remember that any emotions that come up that are difficult for you to deal with, if you can just reframe it as something lustful. That really helps me personally, especially with hot emotions like anger or even wrath or rage or scattered energy, hyperactivity, any energy that is any emotional energy that is both intense and hot, um, anxiety even, mania. My point being, anything in that gradient. If we perceive it as negative, it becomes negative. It becomes anxiety. It becomes compulsion, right? It becomes all these different things because we're trying to control it. If instead of trying to control it or like put a jar around it, essentially, put a clamp down on it because it scares us. If we instead reframe it as this energy needs to move, this energy needs to express, it's coming in hot, right? It's coming in very intense. Just give it an outlet. This is why, the body-based practices like martial arts and things like that, or yoga or whatever, running, whatever, exist. It's because hot emotion wants to move, so let it move. If you put a clamp down on it, that's why that creates the internal struggle, the sadist versus the masochist inside you, right? Because the hot emotion just needs to have an avenue. It doesn't. When you put a clamp down on it, it turns in on itself, and now you've got, you don't have a problem, but now you've got this internal dynamic of a situation that is creating more complexity and more pain, causing more pain than it needs to be if you just gave it a flow, right? Just gave it something to do, other than taking it out on other people or whatever. It's very simple. Make some art. Go on a walk. Move it. Yeah. Have fun with it. Sometimes I just like to create small, safe explosions. When I'm really angry, like when the anger turns to rage and I can't seem to quite move it or express all of it, and I'm starting to feel like it might explode inappropriately, I go to a smash room. I scream. I break stuff. I set fires. I do all kinds of weird things to get the anger moving. So just be creative, and it's supposed to be fun, so enjoy it. I love making explosions. It's awesome. It turns my rage into something joyful and ecstatic, and then it goes away. So something like that, maybe. So the devil, yeah, don't take yourself so seriously. What I love about the Thoth cards, my favorite devil card ever, because it's got the goat here with a third eye Capricorn goat with this he's got this smirk on his face, and it's so funny. I'm a Capricorn sun, and I used to get in trouble all the time as a kid and a teenager, and even early adulthood when I would be in work situations or something in service where lots of different authorities across the course of my life would tell me to wipe that smirk off my face, and I never it was really triggering and kind of made me create shadow energies and all kinds of weird things inside my create this sadomasochist internal dynamic. Kind of the essence of that is basically what I'm talking about here. I guess that's why it's coming up so strongly. And the funny thing about it is I was never smirking at anything to be a dick. I was smirking because I thought life was absurd and everyone was taking everything really seriously. And if we all just kind of lightened up a little bit and just saw the humor of the situation, that we would all feel better. And so, my ability to kind of read absurdity in a situation got me in trouble. And it was to my detriment. So, I had to come into a space eventually where I realized, no, that the smirking goat is who I am authentically. And there's nothing bad about it. If people are putting that on me, that's on them, not me, right? So, yeah, a little laughter, a little more ease, a little more joy. Be this, this smirking goat. The reason why this goat is smirking is because he's grandfather. He's Capricorn. He's the grandfather of the zodiac. He's seen it all, right? He's seen it all. He's been to the depths of hell. He kind of is the ruler of the depths of hell in terms of the devil card also kind of rules ego as an entity. The devil archetype itself kind of rules ego as an entity. And so, all these things that we're fighting or projecting the devil or evil or sin or whatever onto, all of it's inside of us. We're holding ourselves in that dynamic in some way. That's why we're perceiving something outside of ourselves that way. And so if we can, recognize, kind of separate from the good versus evil story and just kind of see that we have all these energies inside of us that just need a direction, just need a healthy outlet, and that's it. They're not good or bad, they're just energy. Then we, with our free will and intent, can choose to use our energy in a way that is fruitful rather than, malicious or whatever. And we do that by releasing the restriction on these energies before they become a problem. as well. So I feel like what is being held in dynamic here mostly is this deep, deep desire to express, and then whoever in you feels unsafe about that and is kind of putting a serious, like a clamp down of like seriousness on it, like this is serious business. It is and it isn't. I mean, yes, the evolution of your soul and your happiness is serious. Your safety and well-being is serious. And the second you relax the need to be serious, things start to move. You start to find flow again. And so we're trying to get you back into flow. And all of these ways that you've restricted yourself, because the devil rules self-restriction, right? They got to go. They got to go. Safely, in a healthy way, they got to go. Okay. Past affecting the present, we have the Three of Wands reversed. I feel like you've been waiting for something for so long, and it's not coming. And it's not coming because you need to take the initiative. In the upright, especially in a classic deck where you have the figure waiting for the ships to come in, is kind of the representation of you preparing a space physically or inside yourself or whatever, preparing a space to receive visitors, to receive guests. I kind of always see it as like, make sure, if you're waiting on something, make sure you light the lighthouse, because otherwise the ships aren't going to be able to find it. And I also kind of see this as the ships are always waiting to come in, which is basically just the aspect of like spirit or the universe or fate or whatever you want to call it, just kind of waiting to bring you the things that you asked for, the things that you want, right? And the only thing in the way of that is you needing to prepare yourself and light the lighthouse so the ships can come in. Otherwise, they're just perpetually waiting, right? So reverse Three of Wands, that's what I see. I see this perpetual waiting for ships to come in and them not coming in, and you getting really, really frustrated and blaming yourself and maybe blaming the universe or blaming the people around you, or, you know, all kinds of complexities can come out of that. What I'm feeling is, if this goes back to really deep childhood, it could just be like you waiting for the reward that you were promised and never got. Or like, you know, if you're, you know, required to be in school all day and then do homework, and then you just weren't in a position with your family or whatever where you received praise, or you received some sort of reward that felt like it was worth the effort. It could have just been like all effort and no reward. And maybe creating a pattern there of like you just working, and then not celebrating yourself enough. It can create busy work too, so then just lack of efficiency, or just this, you know, kind of sense of guilt that just continues to be generated. And then no reward at the end, like no. So, you know, the ships coming in, if they're the reward, and you preparing yourself and lighting the lighthouse, if that's the work, a couple of things could be happening. Maybe it feels like you're doing the work, but you're just doing everything except for lighting the lighthouse. And I kind of see that as like, if you're lighting the lighthouse, it's you signaling to the universe, hey, I'm ready to receive. So if you have a like some sort of relationship with reward where you're never ready to receive, you never deserve the reward, if that's the story you're telling yourself or whatever. It's like you're doing all this preparation work, busy work, right? Everything else is prepared. Everything's clean. The lighthouse is empty. You know, everything's ready at port. Everyone's ready to receive or whatever at port, but you haven't lit your lighthouse, like your consciousness, your signal to the universe that you are ready to receive. Then maybe that's all that happens. Maybe all this is like, you just need to light the lighthouse. You need to find a way to do that because everything else is done. Like, that could be true. The opposite end of that could be like, if you were raised in a situation where it was work, never receive, then there could be this sense of like, I don't want to have to do anything, and you just kind of let it all fall, and nothing is prepared because you're tired of that story, right? But then what ends up happening is, of course you never receive because now you're never putting in the work. And so I think in that situation, step away for a second from like what you're waiting on, and give yourself something else. Give yourself something small, you know, create pleasure and experience and joy and relaxation in some other avenue, just to get yourself into a space where you can kind of break the story of all work and no play, right? And then maybe just give yourself that. Just give yourself all the pleasure that you didn't receive before for a while. and then eventually move out of it and come back to work and light the lighthouse and get what you really want, right? Which is probably soul's purpose-based, fate-based, right? The thing you really want to do, the big thing. Yeah, so they just come back to the drawing board after. That's another way you can use this energy. So coming back to the main point, this is a time in the past where you just kept waiting to receive and never received. And the invitation now is get ready to receive. And to do that, just light the lighthouse, all right? Give the ship something to come towards so that they know where they're going. That's all. In your foundation this month, we have the Four of Wands reversed. Are you happy at home? I feel this desire to want to get up and move. I mean, that can be pretty self-explanatory in terms of just like COVID stuff. If you've just been stuck inside for so long and you're getting really stir crazy, and that could, it's funny because, this one's below this one in the spread, and I feel this kind of restless energy, and then it's pushing into this energy, which is, this deep energetic desire to kind of explode, right? To kind of express out into the world. So, I feel like you're stir crazy in some way. This also could be an all work and no play thing. Are you happy at work, or are you just spinning your wheels? That could be another thing. Are you too tired? Are you too drained? Do you need to take something out of your life for your own health and well-being? Okay, so yeah, I'm getting something else. I'm just trying to let it drop in. There's also this sense of like, the Four of Wands is a very stable energy in the upright. It's kind of like, you've got 4 legs to stand on kind of energy. You've built the foundation already. It's time to decorate the house, or, because the foundation's already built. It's time to, if you've moved into that new house with your new spouse, it's time to sit by the fire and have tea and talk and enjoy being married, like those kinds of things. So in the reverse, it's kind of like something's off. You're not happy. The foundation isn't well. But what I'm feeling is more like you're not looking at the right thing. So this feels perception based as well, in terms of like, I always see this as like, normally you don't see Four of Wands as a wheel, but but in this card you do. And if you think of this as like the Wheel of Fortune that just keeps turning and turning, and if you look at this Three of Wands energy as waiting for the thing to come in, you could just be spinning on the wheel, right, waiting for the thing to come in when you already have everything you need. So, and fate can imply that too. Like, you already have everything you need. You've incarnated with a plan. You incarnated with these skills and gifts. Just use them. Enjoy yourself. You're here to be human. Just be in the world. So, it's like, it's like, be simple. Be here now. Be present. And see if maybe through that you realize that you already have everything you need. Maybe the ships have already come in. You can't even see them because the lighthouse isn't lit. Maybe the ships just found a way, and they're here, and they're waiting for you to greet them, maybe. And you're not seeing it because the lighthouse isn't on. Are you looking at it? Are you looking at the right thing? Or are you so focused on the distance that you don't see what's right in front of you? That may be what's happening. You want what's over there, but it's already arrived. Okay, so that's what's coming through for me. Is like, you do already have everything you need. You do have, in reality, you have this Four of Wands foundation. That doesn't mean you don't want to make changes. The things that you're unhappy with, that's fine. You can make those changes. But what are you happy with? What is working? And what do you have available? Maybe you've got the wheel, you have all the materials to make the wheel, but just one of these wands, right? Like one of these spokes or something, just is in the closet, right? Or shoved in a drawer, or hanging next, or like sitting by the fire, sitting by the fireplace, and you just forgot that it was there. You're not looking at it. Sometimes things just blend into your background after a while. It could be that like you've had this resource for so long that you've forgotten all about it. Using the fireplace analogy, it's like, if what you want, if what that desire is a fire in your fireplace, maybe there's just a piece of, you need a little more wood, and the piece of wood is right there. Maybe it's just in your garage or whatever. Anyway, that's my point. Do you already have it and you just need to assemble it, or something like that? What do you already have available? Have your ships already arrived? Look around. Okay. Crowning you this month, we have the 4 of Swords and the 6 of Cups. So we have 2 4s, so 44, angel number. Look that up if you want. 4 of Swords. Chill out. Just rest. If your schedule is too crazy, then say no to something. Move something around. Cancel something. Cut something out of your life if it doesn't bring you joy anyway. Obviously don't hurt yourself if you need a job. You can't leave your job if you need money. But within your means, within your resources, take a break. You'll have more clarity that way if you just take a day for yourself in some capacity. If you do, it feels like sometimes the 4 of Swords means energetic download, like something coming from the highest power into your body, and suddenly you have the illuminating moment. But here's what I'm seeing here is you've been waiting for that. You keep waiting for the moment of enlightenment, right? 3 of Wands, waiting for the ships to come in. 4 of Wands reversed, needing that fire in the fireplace and feeling like you don't have that fire. Fate, maybe wondering what is out there for you, what you're destined to become, and you're only destined to become what you choose to become. And so, you know what I mean? And so with this 4 of Swords, I'm feeling the same thing. It's like, don't wait for the energetic download. Don't wait for the universe to do this for you. You have all of the pieces. You just need to connect them. And here I see these 4 of Swords. Again, this doesn't show up in a classic deck, but it does in the Thoth deck, where the 4 of Swords all touch each other, okay? It's almost like you already have in your mind all of the thoughts that you would need to put this puzzle together in the way that you desire. You just need to connect the dots, okay? So all the way back now to, if these are the strings and the dot in the middle is your consciousness, just collect the dots. Just connect all the strings to the dot that is your consciousness, and then you'll have the moment. So it's an inside job. It's not a download this month. It's universe is saying, we already gave you everything. We gave you all of it. Just make the connection. And again, we have here, right, connectivity, this desire to connect. Here, it's just your brain desiring to connect with yourself. And so what's in the way? I think it may be the devil. I think it may be the, reading your own letter too much. Step away from the story, breathe, sit, be in the present moment. Think about what you already have and contemplate that. And then maybe it'll just, because you have it, you're there. I think what is preventing you is probably just a story that can be dismantled. 6 of Cups. Pleasure. Yeah. In Hinduism, there's this story of, it's an allegory for meditation, and it's the deity Lakshmi. I'm losing the details, so I guess I'll just talk about the part that's coming to me, where basically if you think of yourself or your consciousness or your inner landscape as the sea of consciousness, right? There's just big open sea of consciousness, and at the bottom of the sea, if you imagine all of these beautiful jewels, treasures, gold pieces, diamonds, everything that you cherish, right? That you hold sacred, maybe. They're all there, right? They're always there. But there's just all this debris in the way. There's murky water. There's, all of our shit, all of our stories, all of our ego-based ways that we step out of relationship with ourselves, that we alienate our own selves, parts of ourselves. All the stories that we collect through our day, all the impressions, all the ways that our mind spins out. All these things are kind of in the way of being able to see the treasure. And so essentially the allegory to meditation in the story is when you sit to meditate, and all your stories come up, you just sit and breathe, and through the breath, what happens is it all settles. And so all of the debris, all the egoic stories, all the Maya, right? All the parts of this exquisitely false machine that we're in, nature being human, nature of being able to think about ourselves, right? All that stuff. Once that starts to sink down to the bottom, then what starts to rise? All the jewels. And now you're in crystal clear water and you see all of your sacred jewels. And they're all there. You just have to get through the noise. So this is what I'm feeling here with the Six of Cups. You have everything that could bring you pleasure, joy, ecstasy, fulfillment, right? It's just on the sea bottom, and all of your shit is floating in the sea right now, so you can't see it. If you settle, if you breathe, if you take some time for yourself, if you rest and rejuvenate and just allow and accept things as they are, and the reality of how things are right now is they're fine, right? I mean, if you really think about what's going on right now, are you in any danger? Probably not. You're probably just watching this video, right? You're fine. You're going to be fine. So relax, be here now. Trust that your jewels will reveal themselves, and just sit with the muck and let it pass. Okay. New circumstance. We have the Prince of Discs. Take it slow. Take it day by day. You know, we have infinite multitudes of things that we can think about and project on and problem solve and assign problems to. And you know, we have lots to consider in terms of things not working. It's an infinite spiral of choosing what isn't working. On the flip side of that, if you can just be here now, right? And I think that's all you have to do, is just be here now with your breath, come into your body, and put one foot in front of the other. You'll see that everything is working, because you'll be able to zoom out of this broad perspective of everything and just kind of sit with what is, which is much simpler and easier to work with. So, you know, with the Prince of Discs, I always tell people, you know, this is about taking things one step at a time, you know, not thinking about the fifth step in front of you. And when you're walking, are you thinking about that? I mean, you're probably thinking about your destination a little bit, right? If I'm gonna go do the dishes right now, I'm thinking about the dishes a little bit. But I'm not thinking about every step I take to get there. I'm really just putting one foot in front of the other, which I'm thinking about a little. You know, it requires, in order for me to take a step forward, it requires my brain to send the signal through my spine into my nervous system for my leg to move. So I'm thinking about that on some level. But I'm only thinking about the leg that needs to move and how it's moving, and then I'm putting another foot in front of the other. I'm making sure I'm not running into anything. I have to be here now for that. So the way to get through obstacles is to be here right now, not to think about 5 steps ahead of me. That doesn't make sense. You know, I've forgotten where I am now because I'm 5 steps ahead and I just smacked into the fridge, right? So take things one step at a time, because that's all there is. Everything else is pure potential, and that's fine. But you're here right now. So just put one foot in front of the other. And what I like about Prince of Discs is it's a Taurus energy. What's Taurus all about? Slow growth of the garden, watering the garden every day until, you know, the plant turns into flowers, you know. And the patience required to turn a plant into a flower is enormous, especially when it's still in the ground and it's sprouting, but you can't see it, and you're just like, right, but you can't like you can't force the flower to grow. You just water it, and you give it love and sunlight and put it in a nice place, and eventually you'll see it, right? So that's how I feel about the Prince of Discs. You're probably doing so much more than you know, but if you're in the future, if you're feeling impatient, if you feel like it's never going to happen, you're never going to notice what you've already accomplished, because you'll see the results of what you've accomplished right here, right now, in this moment, not 5 paces from now. Okay, so that's what I'm feeling with this energy. Just be here now. Put one foot in front of the other. And the other aspect of Taurus that I like is the kind of earthy, kind of paired with the devil, right? The kind of earthy, paired with the devil and the Six of Cups, actually, this earthy desire to collect trinkets and look at shiny things. You know, like earth signs are very like, we like stuff. And so I see this Prince of Discs as kind of like putting one foot in front of the other and being like, oh, look, a treasure. And then, you know, putting it in your pocket, like the trail of breadcrumbs that leads you to the big goal. That's kind of the Prince of Discs path, is like, oop, and another one. Oop, another one. And you're just walking along and enjoying the view as you walk along. Enjoying the walk. That's what I like about Taurus energy. And that is going to get you to a way more relaxed state, I think, where you can kind of just relax the mind, be here now and breathe. because it really does feel like a story is being generated through your mind, and it's creating these potentialities that's draining you, and then it's kind of like you lose track of what you're even doing in the first place, so be here now. Be here now. The Lover's reverse, Gemini, energy. Self-love. This is about being at home in your own heart. Which I guess means, not wanting something outside of yourself, but I don't mean that in the sense that, like, it's wrong to have desires. I don't mean that at all. Especially, I think that's partly why you got here, feeling like it's wrong to have desires, so I don't want you to feel that way. This is about being at home in your own heart, and this is as simple as it gets. It's just about coming back to the breath and focusing your energy here. So if you're centered in your brain, like if this is kind of where your consciousness is existing, that's part of what's taking you into a frenzied state, or feeling like you're not grounded or happy. Because the Four of Wands reverse is just telling me that you feel like you're unhappy. And I'm not saying that it's all your fault at all. I'm just saying that what these cards are implying is that if you change your perspective, you'll instantly feel a lot happier. So the Lover's reverse, being at home in your own heart, loving yourself, self-love. Not about another, it's about you, right? So the second I picked up this card, I slotted in to myself. It was just like, boom, and suddenly grounded. So, maybe this is the way to get here, right? I mean, if I were to really strip this down into if I was choosing a day, like today, if I was choosing a day for myself, to be with myself, right? And I had these energies available, these cards, right? I'd go for a walk, and I'd pick up a nice flower along the way. I'd ask it if it wanted to come with me, and then I would take it along the way. Maybe I'd pick up another for my rabbit to eat or to give to my mom or something, okay? And then as I'm walking along the path, so collecting the treasures, right? This walking along the path, collecting the treasures, enjoying the day, being here now. And then I guess I would probably sit down and meditate, right? Just observe my breath. And through that, I would reconnect with my heart, because my mind isn't chattering so much, so I would be able to sink back down into my body. I'd start to breathe, here from my core, and feel the emotions in my chest, which by this point, because of all that I've already done, the nice walk I went on to get rid of this excess energy, maybe I go for a little bit of a run first and then kind of slow it down to a walk, just to make sure that I'm getting out of that restless energy, right? Then maybe I sit down and meditate. I reconnect with my heart. Now I feel like I'm in a really good space. So I ask my heart, how are you feeling? What's going on? Do you have any desires today? What do you need? What do you need that you're not getting? And maybe it's just something as simple as like, I'm having this feeling of sadness that you're not addressing because you have shame around the sadness, right? And then I realize, oh, I'm shaming myself for being sad. I'm so sorry I did that to you, heart. Why are you sad? Let's have a conversation, right? And then maybe I would journal it out a little bit or something like that. And then maybe when I'm done with that, to reward myself for going inside myself, because addressing shame and sadness is, energy intensive. Maybe I'd throw a log on the fire that I found outside on my walk or something, and sit by the fire and drink some tea, That's kind of what I'm trying to get you to do. It's something like that in your own way, right? Whatever makes sense for you. These are just my examples. And I'm only using them to try to carve a path for you to realize what you can do in the same vein within yourself, for yourself, okay? Okay, your energy this month, we have a Seven of Cups reversed. Not knowing what you want. You don't know what you want, and there's panic. There's panic in my stomach, back to the sacral chakra. So I think what's happening, you're waiting, but you don't even know what you want. You're unhappy with reality as it stands. You're not looking at the materials already available to you. It's creating a restless energy because you don't know where to put the energy that wants to move. That energy is starting to build. Maybe has for a while. That energy is starting to build. It needs a place to go. Here comes lust, the charge, the discharge of energy, going for a run, whatever, screaming, whatever. And it looks like this story is just making it so much worse. So I feel like maybe the story here is I don't know what I want and I'm running out of time. And then the energy itself, your body is just restless and needs to move. So I think what's happening is you're kind of pairing those two together in a way that's maybe not allowing either to move. You continue to not know what you want. That continues to hold the other energy in contempt, this need to move. So if you don't know what you want, that's fine. Maybe just be spontaneous and inane and do things for no reason. You know, because there's still a reason. There's the energy just wants to move, especially hot energy, especially built up energy. So just let it move. It doesn't have to be the end all be all. It doesn't have to be the right thing. It just has to be something. You know, just think of a time that you did something for no reason, for whatever reason. Probably because you were drunk or with people and having a good time or whatever, and you just decided to be a little, you know, mischievous. You know, just get mischievous. Get smirking goat. Just poke at things. Get mischievous. Have fun. Do what you want to do, not what you think you have to do. And I mean, do what you want to do when you don't know what you want. Do what you impulsively want to do in a way that is not harmful, right? What is that impulsion? How does that impulsion want to express? Because there's probably a way it wants to express, and this story isn't letting it. This I don't know what I want, so keep your head down. You know, keep your energy stuffed inside and wait. You know, don't wait. Just release it. You can always regenerate energy. So just get this out so you have some more clarity. Okay, doesn't matter if you don't know what you want. It doesn't matter. Maybe not knowing what you want is what you want right now. You know, because something in you is having desires, and those desires are playing out in the world in some way. So what are those desires? Even if they don't seem to make sense or they don't seem to be what you want on the surface, we have shadow energies. Maybe there's a shadow energy in you that just really loves being a sadist, really likes torture, and is torturing yourself by generating this story that is keeping you stuck. And if you just gave that sadist something else, you know, to do, maybe it would just clarify what you want in the first place. And maybe you can't know until you give this other energy what it desires in a safe and healthy way. Okay. Environmental energy, we have the Knight of Discs. This is Capricorn, I think. Maybe it's Virgo. Yeah, I think it's Virgo. Yeah, it's Virgo. Virgo energy, another Earth. We got 3 Earth in here. 4. The only phrase that's coming to mind is, hey, look, the sun's up. And it is springtime. And springtime in Chinese medicine is wood energy. And wood energy is that deep desire for discharge, because it's that moment where the stem of a plant bursts out of the seed. Do you know how much energy it requires? I mean, I'm not a plant, but just imagine how much energy is required for that seed of desire to have to push and push and push against the soil to come out and find the sun. I feel like the sun is your desire, but you're a human being, so go outside. You've already pushed out of the soil, right? So go outside and enjoy it. Maybe you've already created all the joy that you wanted for your life in the last cycle, at least, right? Not that you can't have more desires now, but maybe you did in the last cycle cultivate all the joy that you wanted, and you're not seeing it because you're already thinking about the next cycle instead of the one you're in, so you're not enjoying the celebratory period. I do that a lot. I used to do that a lot. I don't really anymore, but there was a time in my life where it's like, as soon as I accomplished something, my brain went next thing, right? And so I totally cut in half all what I was trying to get to experience the fulfillment and the joy, right? And I achieved it. I skipped over the fulfillment and joy part, and I just went for the next thing I didn't have, right? And so, of course, that made other aspects of myself frustrated. You know, the one in me that wants to experience joy and ecstasy and celebrate my successes were just getting clamped down on, just getting stepped all over because I had work to do, you know? So that's kind of what I'm feeling here is the sun is already out. Just go outside. You know, Knight of Discs is about abundance. It's about the abundance you already have. It's about what you've already cultivated. And of course, there's a cyclical sense of like, yeah, we got more work to do. We're going to continue to whatever. Gardening doesn't end. The process of gardening doesn't end, you know, but you've harvested enough right now So just enjoy what you've done, because you've done a lot. Okay. Hopes and fears. Princess of Wands. I mean, this and lust, pretty much the same energy. The only difference is lust is bigger. It's a bigger energy. It's archetypal. Princess of Wands is more like you as a human, your expression of it, right? How this archetypal fiery energy moves through you as a human being. So how do you want to move it? And why are you afraid? This is in the upright, which means this energy that wants to move has your best interest at heart. This energy that wants to move is looking for joy, it's looking for ecstasy, it's looking for expression. You see the figure, she's kind of dancing, and she's like holding a tiger by the tail, and they're kind of swirling up this fiery, kind of flamey energy here. And if you see the wand she's got, there's a sun on the end of the wand, and we just said, hey, the sun's out, go outside. All right, so yeah, I mean, who in you just needs to express themselves in a fiery, lustful, action-oriented way? Who wants to go out into the sun, and be the sun with them, be that fiery energy with the sun, create this dance, right? This cosmic dance, this lover's energy. Who in you wants to do that, and why are you afraid? Because the hope here is that you can. The fear I just feel is a resistance to expression. So, and I feel it in the heart for sure. Why are you afraid of the heart expressing itself? What's there? What's the resistance about? That's what you have to figure out. Because this is in the upright. It's ready to go, right? You are ready to go. All of the, I mean, like, Knight of Dis is in the upright, sun's already out, it's already there. If this is in the reverse, it's like you're seeking, but it's here. Same with the Princess of Wands. You're not seeking. It's not that it has nowhere to go. It has a place to go, you're just not allowing it to go there. So this being already in the upright is saying, hey, I'm ready for you to allow me to be what I am, right? Okay, so same with the four, like the Six of Cups. Pleasure's here. It's in the upright. It's not. You're not seeking for pleasure. It's right here. So why aren't you looking at it? A lot of perspective stuff. Outcome. We're Five of Pentacles. What is coming across to me, like what stands out for me is, I mean, the Five of Pentacles is a very excessively worried energy. Classically, it shows, the stained glass, like, church building, and basically joy and laughter and, spirit inside, and these two people that are, like, left out in the cold. And usually what it means is, and I get that churches are problematic in some ways, but I like the aspect of the church in that, like, if the system was doing what it was supposed to do anyway, if you're left out in the cold and you're, homeless or impoverished or injured in some way, like I think, classically somebody's got like a crutch, like a Tiny Tim situation going on, they have like a crutch, then the church would let you in. They give you warmth, they give you food, they give you light. You can always go to the church. Ideally, you can always go to the church no matter how ragged you are, and be given what you need, right? And so the aspect of the Five of Pentacles is like not asking for help. That's one aspect. And that usually comes out of not feeling like you're even worthy or deserving of help. You're not even worthy or deserving of being in the church, and that's inherently untrue. You are inherently divine because you're here. So, and you always have access to the church in terms of, like, you wouldn't be here if you're not. Like, we all have a connection to source, otherwise we wouldn't exist, right? So you all have a connection to your source, however that shows up, and however that is for you, however you name it. It's there because you're here. If that's even just like the fact that, organic matter evolved, and this is true too, I'm not saying this is incorrect, but if you don't like the spiritual aspect that much, or you don't connect with it that much, and you're more scientifically based for whatever reason, like, even on that level, if you see yourself as this, like, accidental series of organic energy that over millennia has been able to evolve to a place that allows you to be a human being, a conscious human being, thinking about yourself, right? Which is incredible. It's incredible that we got here. This is amazing. We have, Earth just spinning around this fucking star, and it's in the exact right position for us to pretty much enjoy ourselves. except for the ways that we hurt ourselves, and that's not the Earth's fault, right? So, you know, with this Five of Pentacles energy, I feel like, oh, what was I saying about, oh yeah, even if you're scientifically oriented and you think you are literally just this atomic energy in this specific physical form that has been created, you're right. I mean, even if we come back to this like strings, particles and strings thing, you know, on the quantum level, we are literally just particles vibrating all over the place. And, you know, the strings could be like waves, light waves, sound waves, the energy, just the dynamic between, I mean, if we're talking just science. So if you're speaking to another person, you are creating sound waves through speech, and that is creating basically a wavy line that connects right to them, you know, where you're directing your speech patterns. So even if you took the spiritual out of it and you just looked at the science, that is still your connection to source, your identification with being an organic being, your identification with, you know, being in this universe with the laws of physics as they stand, right? That is still source. That is still, you got here, you're here, congratulations, how incredible. So if you can just, you know, reframe that, like, why do you feel unworthy of spirit? Why do you feel unworthy of, or undeserving of warmth and nourishment and community, even, because that church with stained glass also represents community. You feeling isolated and there being a community inside. So what is it for you? What's the thing? What are you worrying about? What do you feel like you don't deserve? Why are you looking through the stained glass window? Again, kind of the sun's right there. Why are you looking through this stained glass window when you can just walk into the door, like walk through the door and receive, right? Because it's right there. It's like as close as it can possibly be to you, and the only thing in the way is you. Like and I'm sorry, but that's just what keeps coming through. The only thing in the way is you, because the universe already gave you what you asked for. You're refusing to receive it for some reason. Okay, so that's what needs to be looked at. It looks like it has to do with self-worth because we have the Five of Pentacles, and this being right there at the end of the month. It feels like this wouldn't be coming up if there wasn't a way out, or if you weren't able to see it for what it was. And so I feel like right at the end of the month, depending on you, time is not linear. What I kind of like about this actually is we have these Five Pentacles here, and they're kind of overlapping each other, and I kind of see that as in Kabbalah. I'm not a Kabbalist, but in terms of what I do know about that, and this deck does have Kabbalah symbolism. The ego is considered to be these shells that cover your essence, that like cover who you truly are, and they kind of just shell over time. I kind of look at it as like, you know, if you're you, and then you have the one eggshell that is basically your body, the version of ego that keeps you in a body and is healthy and robust and good, and then you're just this egg yolk inside a shell, right? So what happens with the further progression of the development of ego as it stands right now is here comes another shell, here comes another shell, here comes another shell. So there's all these shells, right, in the way. And that's kind of what makes me think of this, like these overlapping shells of ego, which basically just means story you identify with that doesn't serve you. But inside, like in the middle of all these overlapping shells, you see an opening. You see this little opening, right? And that's the sun. That's you. That's the essence of you that's hiding behind all these shells, right? And so I keep looking at the opening here between these shells, and that's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling you finding the entrance, you finding the cracked open door, right? And the sunlight streaming out. And hopefully, with your free will, making that choice to open that door and go through it. And then now you've got the sun. Now you're one with your fate. Now the lighthouse is on and the ships are here. Okay, and that's where we're headed. So there's work to do here. And I think it's all about ego and story and what you're not allowing yourself to do and feel and whatever. So take a deep breath. Don't intellectualize it, because that just creates more ego, right? Take a deep breath. Be in your body. Feel your feelings. And take care of yourself. Okay? Thank you. I hope you have a good May. Hit like if you like this video. Subscribe if you want to see the next video. And I will see you in June. You can do this. I love you. Good luck.